If you think of Novak, I mean, he does everything well, but he doesn't have anything outstanding. And he's the greatest of all times. With Serena, she likes to dominate. She likes to be in charge, to be the boss. She's right in front of me. I say good morning. She doesn't look at me. She doesn't answer. She wants to take the power. She had a cap and I really hit the cap really hard. Not her head, but the visor. Rule number one, when you enter the court every day, you look at me and you say good morning.
Prime Alcaraz and prime Sinner. Do they beat prime Federer, prime Djokovic, prime Nadal?
Never fear a storm.
Be ready to adapt.
The skill is staying true to ourselves.
Patrick, welcome to High Performance.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
We're happy to have you here. We would love to go straight into how you managed to do what you did with Serena Williams. You took her to 10 Grand Slam titles. We want to know what separates the great tennis players from the greatest tennis players.
Well, only one thing. And people make the mistake to think it's about talent. It's about weapons. Some players have bigger weapons than others, and it has nothing to do with that. It's only the mindset. And I think the best example of this, it's Novak Djokovic, because he's the greatest of all times. I mean, there is no discussion. The only discussion is because people are fans of other guys, but he is. I mean, in terms of achievement, he did more than any other player in the history on every level. And if you look at his game, and you look at Roger Federer's game, you look at Rafael Nadal's game, he doesn't have half of what they have. Roger is a genius. He hits the ball and the ball flies so fast. He has genius volley. He has so many things. Rafa is a physical monster. His forehand is like bouncing like crazy, so difficult to control. If you think of Novak, I mean, he does everything well, but he doesn't have anything outstanding. And he's the greatest of all times because he's the most professional by far. He has we were talking about this just before this podcast, attention to details, unbelievable. And he has this extra thing that makes him really different in terms of he wants to dominate. He wants to be the best. He came to tennis at a time when Roger and Rafa were winning everything and all the players were thinking it's impossible to win a Grand Slam. And he came in and he said, I'm going to beat those guys. And actually he had bad press at the start because everybody said, who's this guy? Who does he think he is? He's cocky. And actually a bit later he answered that because he's been asked. He said, no, I'm not cocky, but I have an incredible confidence in myself, which is one of the qualities mindset-wise. Incredible ambition. As I said, attention to every single detail. You know, now that you have a lot of technology, so you have new things coming out. Whenever anything is coming out, is the first one to buy it, test it. Can I use it? Is it going to make me even 0.1% better? If yes, he's going to use it. Things to see faster. I mean, stuff like that. The mindset, I would say the confidence in your own abilities is one of the things that differentiates them from any other player. And if you look at the evolution of the guys in terms of ranking, the guys who are going to be at the top of the game, they go straight to the top, which means that they don't see any player better than them. Because those mental boundaries that you have, they're going to stop you. They're going to not slow you down. You're going to lose matches, not because you can't win them, but because you see the opponent as maybe a bit better, or maybe you might think at some point in the match, soon I will beat potentially this guy, but for the moment it's not for me. I mean, the champions never think like this. And I give you one example that I lived, was with Serena, 2015 Roland Garros. Since the first day of the tournament, she has 40 degrees fever, not 39, 40. She's in the bed and she just cannot get out of the bed. Impossible. So we don't practice. We can practice before the tournament. She's dead. She has to play a match. So we go to the stadium. I don't know how she gets out of the bed, but she goes to the stadium. Cannot warm up, 0. go straight to the center court. So from the hotel room, not from the hotel bed to the center court of Roland Garros. She plays, she loses the first set because she cannot play. And then there is this rage inside her that tells her, you're not going to lose that match. Impossible. And she finds a way to win it. Spends 1 hour crying in the locker room because she's completely exhausted. Goes back to the bed. Day after, no practice. She can't. Day after, match again. 40 degrees fever. Straight from the bed to the court. She did the whole tournament and she won it. Is it possible? No. But she did it.
So if that's what you can do, if your mindset is right, how can we all build a mindset like that? Is it something that you think is available to anyone?
I don't think so. I think those people, because of their education, because of their experiences they went through, because, what you think about yourself and what I think about myself is the result of, one, how you were raised, how your parents were seeing you, and then all the experiences that you live every single day in your life. You have, 20, 50 experiences, little ones per day, that gives you an opinion that you have about who you are, what you're able to do, what you're not able to do. And this is, I'm not saying this is static, it's dynamic. Like you can change, you can evolve. And that's my job. When I work with a player, my number one focus is to make their mindset evolve in the right direction. But to think like Serena, she's 1,000 miles away. So are you going to reach that level of thinking? Probably not. And if I refer to tennis, because that's the sport that I know the best, the champions, they have experienced many times being in trouble, being down a set and a break, and finally winning the match. It happened 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. And because it happened many times, when they're in trouble, they have this voice telling them, you're going to find a way. And they keep believing. And most of the time they end up winning. Where all the other players had so many experiences of being down a set and a break and losing. So when this happens again, they think, oh, it's not my day or anything else.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny, I had this question that was interesting. Do you think that Sinner Alcaraz would beat Roger and Rafa? And I answered this. If I look at the level that they play today, no. Yes, they would beat them. The level they play today, because tennis evolves. So the level, if I compare just the level, they are better. I think, I can be wrong, but I think they're better than Roger and Rafa and Novak. But if they would have played at the same time, I don't think they would have been as good as them, because I don't think that Rafa and Roger would have led them. What I mean is, a few years back, Alcaraz Sinner were not playing that level. They were great, but they were not. They're playing that level because they've won so much. So they have this feeling inside that the only way to think this way is to have experienced it, and they have. When they were coming up, if Rafa and Roger and Novak were there, they would have beaten them because they were beatable at that time. And because they would have beaten them at that time, those 2 guys would have never reached the level they have today. And this happened with many generations in the past. Roger, Rafa, Novak were winning everything. And a lot of generations of great players, Dimitrov, Raonic, Nishikori, I can name a lot. They're not as famous for sure because they never could reach that level because they were stopped by them. So they never get the confidence that they were able to play that level and win those tournaments. So they never did. So it just comes back to what I was saying. Experiences that you go through gives you a feel of who you are, what you can achieve, and have the confidence to do it. But, it has to start somewhere. So some young players, some young people have a level of confidence about their ability to achieve big things that is way bigger than others. And actually, when I scout young players, I don't scout so much their forehand, their backhand. No, I look at how much driven they are, because I think the best people in the world in I mean, the best in what they're doing, whether it's tennis or anything else.
And how would you define driven?
The more passion. I think the biggest musicians, they just live for their music day and night, and that's an obsession. The best tennis player, same.
Well, tell us about your relationship with Serena then. Like because you had a long, successful relationship.
And we also
with
had
her.
some bad moments.
But yeah, so you were exposed to her at those two moments of success and difficulty.
Yeah, and
What did you learn about-
she always tells me, "You are the person in the world that knows me the best by far." I mean, I don't know now. Don't want to say now because she's married, she has kids, so I guess her husband knows her really
Sure.
well. But I mean, she always told me more than my parents. I know her better than her parents know her, because I really heard her. I heard what she think and what she feels.
What did you hear when you first worked with her? Because she'd just been beaten in the first round of the French Open.
And 2 years without winning a Grand Slam. Also, it's long. For Serena, it's very long.
So what did you find when you first worked with Serena?
First of all, I feel, it's funny what I'm going to say. I always felt I knew her before I knew her. I mean, she was a public person and she was an incredible tennis player before I started to work with her. She had 13 Grand Slams. I always was extremely impressed. Always. I valued her a lot before knowing her. For me, the values of high level, she had all of them. And, when you think about champion mindset, she's the ultimate champion in terms of mindset. Crazy. So I had this opinion already because I felt I knew her. And I always thought one day, and I had this dream, one day she's going to knock at the door of my academy and she's going to enter. And I could see the scene, really. I could see it. And believe it or not, but it happened exactly that way. She called me after the French Open for loss in the first round and she said, "Can I come to your academy? I want to get ready for Wimbledon." And she didn't know me. I mean, barely. I mean, we spoke 1 or 2 times, but 5 minutes. I mean, we know, everybody knows each other on tour, but not really know.
Yeah.
She was in Paris. My academy was in Paris. She knew I had an academy. She called me. I said, "Yeah, sure, of course." So she came to my academy. She entered the academy exactly how I imagined it in my dreams.
Wow.
That was crazy. And then she just asked me to have a court, 2 guys to hit with, and that's it. I said, sure. So I gave her the court and the 2 guys. That's it. And I was just standing out of the court because it was my tennis academy. So I wanted to be sure everything was right and she didn't need anything or, Serena, come on. I had to be careful that everything would go well. So maybe she would come back the day after. So she hit for 45 minutes. She sat down. She turned to me. I was out of the court. She turned to me and she said, "Talk to me." And I talked to her for 10 years.
What was the first thing you asked or said?
First of all, I watched the 45 minutes practice and I saw she was struggling. As I saw the match she lost in Roland Garros first round, and she the same mistakes. That's what I said. I said, I watched your match and I watched your practice and you're doing exactly the same mistakes. So it's not going to go any better if you keep doing the same mistakes. I knew I was a bit provocative, but I did it on purpose. Right. I knew she would react well to that. So she said, what? I said, you do this and you do that. So you should do this and this instead. And then she said, can we do it? Sure. So I stepped on the court, took the basket, and I said, okay, let's do it. And we did it. That's exactly how it started. So completely unexpected.
Was the issue her tennis or was the issue her mind at that point?
Everything is always come together. That's the mistake that people do a lot, saying, what's more important in tennis? Is it the mental? Is it the tennis? Is it the physical? Everything is linked. You can't separate things. If you have a technical problem, this will have mental consequences and maybe probably physical consequences. But it's true. I mean, everything's connected. Yeah. Now, if you ask me what's the most important, I mean, of course, it's the head, it's the mindset. By far, miles away, anything else, for sure.
But you've described her as the CEO of her career. So how did you come in here as an equal rather than seeing yourself as being a subservient to her?
Well, the most important to coach someone, and I always explain that to coaches who jump too fast to other things, is to have the confidence of your player, that the player trusts you. That's number one. If you don't have that, you can't work. Because you can give the best advice in the world. If the player is not convinced that what you're saying is right, it's not going to work. First, she's not going to do it. And even if she does it, she's not going to believe in it, and it's not going to work. And sometimes it's better to give a bad advice, but to have the player believe in it 100%, than to give a good advice that the player believes 50%.
Right.
So the trust, you have to create the trust.
And how do you do that?
Lead by example. First of all, I showed that I was not someone that would accept to be dominated. And she tried.
For example?
She always does that because I think she's feeling comfortable when she dominates. That's why she became who she became also.
Yeah.
But she likes to dominate. She likes to be in charge, to be the boss. So she's at the very start. So that was at my academy, but there was no plans of coaching. I was coaching Grigor Dimitrov at that time. She was coached by her father since she was a kid. So, well, she just asked me for help. I did. But then Wimbledon comes and she calls me. She's still in the US, right? Because after being in Paris with me for practice, she went back to the US. I'm already in Wimbledon with Dimitrov practicing for the tournament. And then she calls me from the US and she says, I'm arriving tomorrow. Can we meet? I said, yeah, sure. We're going to meet the day after tomorrow. I said, no. She said, no. I arrive tomorrow. We meet tomorrow. Okay. So we went to a cafe and she said to me, I really love the week that we had. I never trusted anyone else than my father, but I can feel that it can help. I mean, I can feel that maybe I can win another Grand Slam with you. So I would like to try Wimbledon with you. Are you prepared to do it? So I said, I'm going to ask Grigor because I'm with him. So is he okay that I do both of you at the same time? If not, I'm not going to do it because I have to be fair. Grigor said yes. And even in that meeting, I already showed who I was to her. So she asked me, what do you think about my game? What do you think about me as a player? And I told her things that nobody on that planet would have told her. Nobody would dare saying this to her.
Like what?
I said, you know what I think? I think you're an underachiever. She had 13 Grand Slams. She was shocked. I said, yeah, I think you're an underachiever because you're so good. How can you lose so many matches every year? You should not. There is no reason to lose those matches. So imagine you would have won all of those matches, maybe not all of them, but the majority of the ones you lost. How many Grand Slams would you have today? And it's funny because 10 years later, she said to me, if I had met you 10 years before, I would have 40 Grand Slams. I don't know if it's true, but that's the feeling she has. Because when I said this to her, she was shocked. But she thought, oh, this guy, sorry to say that way, but this guy has balls. First of all, he sees me so good, which I believed what I said. Huh? I would not say something I don't believe, unless I think it's very helpful for the player. A good lie is better than a bad truth, by far, if it helps the player. But I really meant it, and I have no problem. I have Serena Williams in front of me, and I tell her she's an underachiever, which sounds crazy, but she liked it. And then we went on the court because Grigor said yes, so I went on the court, and when she entered the court, first day, she's right in front of me. I say, good morning. Good morning. She doesn't look at me. She doesn't answer. Then we start practice. After 10 minutes, I tell her something about her game. She doesn't look at me. She doesn't answer. She's just telling me, I don't care about you. She wants to take the power. That's what she's trying to do. So I was tough.
How did you deal with that moment?
Well, same. I thought I need to build the trust.
Yeah.
If I show that I accept that she treats me like this, she will never trust me. She will never respect me. So there will be no trust. I mean, I'd better stop now to coach her. It's not going to work. She has to respect me. If she respects me, if she likes me, if she respects me, if she trusts me, we're going to do something incredible. But if one of those three things is missing, not going to work. So what I'm going to do, what I did at that moment, on the moment she's not going to like me, but she will like me because I'm really likable. And I really like her. So she's going to like me. I have no doubt. I can take that risk. And if I don't take that risk, I'm going to fail anyway. So she sat down and she had a cap and I really hit the cap really hard. Not her head, but the visor of the cap. So it almost fell, the cap. I did like this. And I looked at her and I said, I have rules and you're going to respect the rules. Rule number 1, when you enter the court every day, you look at me and you say, good morning. Rule number 2, when I speak to you, you look at me and you answer me. And I said, is it clear? And then she said, and what's rule number 3? And I forgot the rule number 3. So I said, I don't remember, but I'll tell you when I remember. That was it. But a few months later, she said, when you did this, you had me.
Like most parents, the mornings for me often start in full chaos mode. The kids trying to get out the door, somebody needs help finding their school shoes, Belle the dog is running around putting mud everywhere, and I'm already thinking ahead to the fact I've got to get to London for a podcast conversation, so I need to be switched on. And in all of that, I honestly used to forget to think about myself, and it did catch up with me. I would turn up here in the studio feeling a bit run down, a bit sluggish, sometimes a bit snappy with people, a bit of brain fog. You know, where you're awake, but you're not really present. And a couple of years ago, I started taking Vitals by Heights. I'm a genuine customer of theirs. Just 2 small capsules genuinely made me feel like myself again. This is a powerful blend of vitamins, nutrients, minerals, omega-3, all the Bs, basically everything that you need to feel clear, energized and steady. My wife now takes it. My parents take it as well. And if you want something that supports your nutrition, your energy, your focus and your overall health without adding any hassle, then I believe this is it. And you don't have to just trust me, because this is taken by athletes, by Olympians, by everyday people who need to show up consistently. The proof is there that this works. And if you're looking to fuel right this year, head to heights.com/Jake or use the code HP20 at checkout for 20% off your first month and start your Heights journey today. So if you're thinking about attending a World Cup match next year, my advice, do it properly. Choose a host city that gives you more than just the matches. And I know exactly the city, because Seattle lives and breathes soccer. From their record-breaking crowds for the Sounders to the fan culture that I think is so important, and it fills the streets there on match day. The passion in Seattle for football is undeniable, and it's about to hit a whole new level with the World Cup. And what I love especially about that city is how close everything is together. So the stadium is right next to downtown, so you can walk from a world-class football venue straight into the heart of the city. The weather there is incredible, lovely, mild summer days that you will just love. Nature is everywhere. There's Puget Sound, sparkling waters. There's mountain views on the horizon. It kind of feels to me when you're in Seattle, I don't know whether you've been, but like the city's DNA is related to the outdoors. And then when you want to refuel, honestly, the food and the drink in this place is next level. Legendary coffee, fresh seafood, cozy wine tasting rooms. They've got craft breweries. They've got really cool, like unique bars tucked away in their historic neighborhoods. And all of it is in walking distance. It's so easy to turn a game into a full city experience. I'm very much planning on going. And if you are too, discover more at visitseattle.org and start planning your perfect summer of football.
Can you share an example, though? Say, working with Serena, where you watched her in a game and you thought, that's my input, rather than just her talent, her ability, all the lessons that had shaped her to be who she was?
I mean, it's so complex that I cannot say it's my input. You know, what I said when I started with her, I did a lot of interviews, and the journalist was telling me, wow, what an achievement to work with Serena. And I said, every time I was saying, no, it's not an achievement. I'm lucky, I'm blessed that she shows me. But you can talk about achievements if her results with me are much better than her results before. I was talking about someone who had 13 Grand Slams, but I really meant it. And you look at all the statistics when I worked with her, they're way, way, way better than before. She was never more than 8 months number one in a row before. 3.5 years in a row when we were together. I mean, 10 Grand Slams in 5 years, 13 in 12 years. And the statistic number, percentage of matches won, way higher. So she did better. Now, in details, yeah, I saw, this we worked on, stuff like that. Yes, of course. The thing I'm very happy with is that she won Roland Garros, because that was after coming back to number one. So 2012 we start, 2013 she's back to number one, having won Wimbledon, US Open and the Masters. And 2 Olympic gold medals, in 6 months of time. And then she says to me, I can't win Roland Garros. You know, I won it only once in 2002. We're in 2013 and I still won it only in 2002. So 10 years without winning it. I can't. Can you please? I mean, I'm struggling. She never says I can't. She always thinks she can. Can you please make a plan for me to win Roland Garros? And we did. I did a plan. We worked. And in 2013, not only she won Roland Garros, but she didn't lose one match on clay the whole season. Unbelievable. A dominance on clay like this, I don't think this ever existed. We're talking about someone that all the tennis world and journalists would say, oh, she's not good on clay. She didn't lose one match the whole season on clay. And she ended up winning Roland Garros and winning it again in 2015 with 40 degrees fever.
She did well.
Go on.
I'd like to talk about that moment where you hit the cap, because it's an intense moment, right? It's physical, it's confrontational, it's quite aggressive. And I think that we always think if we're going to get the best out of people, whether it's our partners or our children or our friends or our tennis players, it all has to be kind and friendly and smiley and in flow and everything's great. But really what you're saying there is that clashes are okay. Like, you clashed with Serena, two powerful personalities, and that was all right?
We did clash a few other times, huh? We had some clashes. It's part of life. I mean, if you have a wife, you never clash with your wife. You do. Do you love your wife? Of course you do. It's part of life. It's okay to clash. Of course, what is bad would be to think this person doesn't understand me. It's different. You said, oh, everybody thinks it has to be gentle and nice. And no, everybody is different. And like I would say, in most of the cases, you have to be positive and think positive and value your player. And yeah, of course. But in some cases, it's not true. And I had this with one player because she had been educated completely differently. And I found out that when I was positive, she would lose confidence. And when I was negative, she would gain confidence. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. And I can explain you why. I give you one example. So this player, same top 100 all her life, like between 60 and 100, 24 years old. And suddenly we start working together. And she did the best 8 months she earned more money in 8 months than all the rest of her career combined. She played so well. But because I understood her, she started to play crazy good. And whenever I was congratulating her or saying, oh, this was really good, she was feeling, oh, I'm doing well, it's enough. And she would lose her motivation. It was enough for her. It was easy for her to be, because she never had a compliment in her life, only criticism. And she associated criticism with respect for her potential. She associated nice things said to her or positive things said to her to, you're not that good. And this example you're going to understand. So she beats Justin Henin. You remember this player? First round, Masters 1000. First round she plays her and I tell her, great, perfect. Bad luck for her. That's what I said. She beats her. And I know at that moment, I know how to speak to her. So I tell her, okay, I'm not happy with that match. I said this to her. I'm not happy, not a good match because you were not disciplined. At 40-30, you didn't do the tactics we said. This was wrong. I mean, the percentage of first serve is not big enough and it's just up to you. Just slow down the pace. And so all the things that she did wrong, I said. You know what she thought? I know exactly what she had a smile she couldn't control while I was saying all those negative things. She was so happy because she was thinking, I beat Justin Henin and I didn't even do the right thing and I didn't play well. Fuck, I'm so good. That's exactly what she thought. I know it sounds crazy, but if you don't understand the person, you're not going to do the right thing. After 8 months, I stopped with her. She was number 12 in the world. She beat number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 in the world and won a Masters 1000, beating Justin Henin and Venus Williams in the final. I stopped because she doesn't want to work anymore. She's not prepared to do the same efforts. And I said to her, this is my rules. If you start to do things like this, I stop. So I did exactly what I said. 8 months later, she's completely dropped in the ranking. And she calls me and she says, my coach doesn't believe in me. I said, why would you say that? And she said this, and listen carefully. She said, because I lost the match and she told me I played well. She was trying to be positive. So,
yeah,
if I lose playing well, means I'm not good.
So interesting. That what you said there about you realized she wasn't making the effort and you walked away. Obviously, You also walked away from working with Serena Williams, which is a huge decision, right? How did you come to the decision that it was time for you two to part ways and for you to go and take on new challenges?
Well, I mean, with Serena, it was a complicated situation because, she didn't hit a ball for 8 months at that time.
Yeah.
She was 39 or 40 years old. She didn't want to play. And 3 times during this 8 month, I called her and I said, do you want to retire or you want to keep playing? You have to take a decision. I don't know. I said, you don't know, but you're not playing. You're not hitting a ball. So if you stay too long in that situation, it's a retirement and it's better to say, okay, I'm done. I don't know. 1 time, 2 times, 3. And for me, it was tough because, I mean, that's my passion. I want to coach. I don't want to be here waiting. I can be patient, but 8 months without hitting a tennis ball, it's a lot. And a player came to me and I said, I can't. I'm coaching Serena, sorry. But she was at my academy. So she was practicing there. And she said, can you just come and watch? I said, okay, I'll come, but I stay out of the court and not giving advice, nothing. So that's what I did. And I had a connection with this player. And, I did this a few days and then I entered the court and I just gave her 1 or 2 advice. And I really felt I was back to life after 8 months without. So I said, okay, I'm going to call Serena. So I called Serena and I said, I'm coming to see you. She was in LA at that time. It was far. I was in south of France. No problem. So I came, we sat, we had lunch, and I said, tell me what's the situation. So still the same, I don't know. I said, listen, Serena, I want to coach. That's my passion. That's my job. It's not about money at all. It's just about, I want to do my job. I want to, it's my passion. So if you tell me you want to play, I'm with you 100% without any doubt. But if you don't, I want to keep coaching and I want to work with other players. And she didn't want to answer me. She can be really difficult. I said, listen, 8 months without playing, there is Roland Garros coming, Wimbledon coming, US Open, it's such a short period of time. You will need at least 8 weeks to be ready, especially after not playing for 8 months. Next Monday, it's 8 weeks away from Roland Garros. I wait for you Monday at practice. If you don't show up, I consider you retiring and I'm considering myself free to work with somebody else. If you're here, I'm with you 100%. She said, I won't be there. Okay. That's how I took the decision. Was it a good decision? No, it was not a good decision. I make a lot of mistakes. This was a big mistake. And I didn't understand her at that time, even though I know her so well, because I was also excited with a new challenge, to be honest. If I'm honest with myself, that was the truth. And after that we had a long discussion with Serena, and I realized I didn't understand her at that time, and I didn't do what I should have done. So it was a mistake.
And what should you have done?
I should have said during those 8 months, before 8 months, I should have said, okay, we have to practice. I should have showed up in Florida where she lives and say, okay, tomorrow 9:00, let's go on the court. And she would have practiced. And maybe she would have won a few or the Grand Slams. Who knows? But I didn't do it. So, and that's what she expected.
Yeah.
Because she needed it at that time. Not that she needs it in general.
Yeah.
Because she's incredibly driven. But it was a period of time that was difficult for her. And she needed a push, and I didn't give her the push. So
can I pick up then and combine a few areas that you've spoken about, Patrick? That one about your role as a coach, one about your experiences with your parents that you've just described, and also about the world of tennis. That we were looking at a survey around the role of parents and the progress of young tennis players, where the stats indicate that 36% of parents negatively affect a child's progress in the sport. So my question to you is that if you were designing an education for parents, and we have lots of them listening, what are the 3 top tips that you would pass on that would allow a child, whether it's in tennis or not, just to flourish and achieve the confidence that you eventually found?
Well, first of all, I would probably tell parents don't have any kind of judgment on your child. Zero. And we all judge because everybody judges around us all the time, has opinion on people, has even certainties about people. And when you listen to parents, oh, he's not good at that, oh, he's good at that, it's judgments. Why you judge them? Let them do. That would be number one. Zero judgment. Zero. I would say second, instill in them the value of work, which is the only one that is worth. Never value talent. Never. And I would say it's even worse to have talent. I feel bad for people who have talent. I really feel bad because talent gives people who have it a feeling that they can achieve things without working, which to a certain point is true. But when you look at the big picture, like really big people, it's never true. It's not about talent. And they never really work because first they have this feeling from all their experiences. Again, we come back to experiences that, okay, it's working even if I don't work. Why would I work? And second, talent defines them. People who are talented since a young age, what do they hear about them? Wow, you're so talented. Wow, oh, it's so easy for you. They hear this and they like it. And they hear it all the time. So after a certain time, they think, I am talented. That's my identity. I'm a talented person. And because it's something that values them, that's how they see it, they're scared to lose that label of being talented. If they work and they don't succeed, maybe they're not talented anymore. If they play a player who's not talented and they lose, maybe they're not talented. So what do? They don't fight at matches most of the time. They give up very easily. And after they can say, yeah, I didn't try. So there is a voice.
To protect themselves, yeah.
Yes, it's protection all the time. So talent is dangerous. So I would tell parents, to come back to your question, never value people who are talented around your kids because they will want to be talented too. Value people who work. Value people who fight, who are resilient. All those qualities that are the most important to succeed in life in general. So that's a trap. So I would say that, very important.
What I see from a lot of parents is they're trying to protect their children by saying, no, you can't be a professional footballer because no one makes it as a professional footballer. Oh, no, you can't dream of that job. You can't be an astronaut because the chances aren't very likely. They are doing it because they love their children, because they want to protect their children, because they don't want their kids to be disappointed that the thing they dreamed of never happened.
Huge mistake. Never kill the dreams of your kids. Never. That's their dreams. Respect them. Let them do. You know what? If they're confident and first of all, they will succeed. But even if they don't succeed, if they're confident, they can do anything in life. No problem. They'll do something else and they'll be successful. Actually, I had this discussion with the father of Serena and Venus long time ago. And he told me, my job was to make them confident. That's all I worked about. That was all about it. And once I knew I succeeded, and they were both incredibly confident people, I knew that whatever they would do, they would succeed. And he was right. So yeah, never kill the dreams of anybody. Protecting your children is the worst thing you can do because they need to experience life. I have a lot of friends who come from a very poor background, made incredible success in business, for example, and they tell me, I don't want my kids to go through what I had to go through. And I said, why are you saying this? You are who you are because of what you went through. You think that if you make things easy for them, you're going to help them? Yeah. For sure not. You're going to feel good. You're going to feel like, oh, I make their life, they're happy. I make their life easy. Yeah, but you're hurting them when you do this. I'm not saying you have to torture them at all, but life is life. Of course, when you're 4 years old, you cannot show all life. It has to be according to, but don't make things easy for them. Because if it's difficult, they have problem at school, they can solve something. If you do it for them, they're not learning first. it gives them the impression that they're not good enough to do it because you do it for them. Imagine they fight to solve a problem they have and they end up winning. I mean, it's a boost for their confidence. Let that happen. Don't make things easy. Never. I mean, all the champions, they had a tough life. All of them.
If you hadn't had some of your challenges as a child, if you hadn't suffered with the panic attacks and the fear and the anxiety, and if you hadn't had those experiences in the street where you felt like the world was telling you, you're right to think that the world's dangerous because it is, here's the evidence. If you hadn't gone through those difficult times, do you think you would be sitting here now as one of the greatest tennis coaches the world has ever seen? Or are those a vital part of your story?
Absolutely not. And I will tell you something that is very interesting. When you are in the most difficult position, there are so many opportunities that you don't see because you're suffering from your situation. For example, I mean, this is not that bad, but losing a match or losing several matches in a row and feeling like, oh, wow, I'm struggling. I don't know how to win anymore, etc. This is great opportunities. During COVID, like all the companies were in big trouble, like really big trouble, opportunities. And I know it by experience. So whenever things are going bad, I'm happy. I think, okay, I'm going to have a great opportunity. So when I was young and I couldn't speak to anybody, I could not. I was going to school every day because I needed socialization. Like we are humans, we need this, and I couldn't have. What I was doing to have some kind of socialization was to look at people interact. So two people were talking. I was listening to their interaction. I was, of course, not with them. I was back, but I was listening. And I was looking at every detail of each of them, looking at their face expressions, their clothing, their body language. And I was thinking, what does these people think about what the other guy is saying? And I was trying to put myself in the shoes of one, then in the shoes of the other one, etc., etc. And I was doing this all day long because I was not speaking. By doing that, I learned to read people. I didn't do this for that at all. I did this because I needed to survive and I couldn't have interactions. And that was my way to have some kind of interactions. And I developed an incredible ability that was so useful after when I started to coach. So imagine, I'm in the worst place I can be. I cannot talk to anyone. And I develop something that not many people have, because in real life, I see, how people perceive the other people's emotion. And I think they're completely wrong. I mean, I had so many experiences. We do an interview I'm with a guy, like high profile guy who's working with me. We finish the interview and I say, what do you think about this guy? And he says, oh, he's like this, he's like this, he's like this. Not at all. He said, yeah, but I said, he said, for example, he's very humble. I remember this one. I say, why do you say that? Because I think he's zero humble, which is okay, but he's not humble. This is wrong. So I say, why do you think this? Oh, because he said it. And do everybody says what he thinks? No. There is what people think and there is what people say. It's two different things. And I always define my job as I don't listen to what people say. I hear what they think. That's my job. So I developed this ability at a moment when I could do nothing. So I would not be.
So your trauma became your superpower in many ways.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just to expand on that really beautiful line, though, I don't listen to what they say, I hear what they think. Mm-hmm. How do you do that?
Well, I look at every detail and I try to listen beyond the words. I mean, we all know we live in a society where people don't say what they think. You think they say what they think? I mean, on social media, zero is probably the opposite of what they think. They just say what people want to hear all the time. But even in an interaction, even with friends, there are things they don't want you to know. They want to show their best face, probably, a lot of them. So they don't say what they think. And if you don't know what they think and feel, you don't know them. It's not to judge that you have to know. It's to understand them. Because I think life is a lot about understanding people. When you understand people, you stop judging them. When you don't understand, you judge. So, and you have a completely wrong impression about life and people and the people that you know. And the people that you see on TV or on social media, you have a completely wrong opinion. But if you really pay attention, it's not easy to do. It takes and it takes time. I don't know people in 2 minutes. That's not true. It takes me sometimes a month. My players, I always say it takes me three to 6 months to really know my player. When you see someone, you see people, when you see how people deal with situations, you get to know them better. And my business partner, who's like my best friend for 20 years now, always is an unbelievable coach, by the way. He's not in sports, but he's an unbelievable coach. Always tells me, and he's right, you really know people in two situations, when they have success and when they're in trouble. Their real personality will show up then. Otherwise, it's easy to kind of lie about who you are.
Yeah.
But when you're in trouble, really, then the real you will show up. And when you're successful, you'll see people change a lot.
I just want to interrupt this conversation very briefly to say, look who's here, my favourite physiologist, the amazing Ollie Patrick. I want to talk to you about one of my favourite pieces of wellness tech at the moment, my Bond Charge red light face mask. What is the science behind red light therapy?
So the red light from this device, it goes into your skin tissues and actually activates the batteries of the human body, the mitochondria, to produce more energy.
Now, we talk all the time on High Performance about habits. Every evening, I sit on the bed and I just have 10 minutes to myself and I just allow myself to luxuriate in the brightness of the mask.
I do the same. And so there's a lovely routine and ritual about that. That red light is pushing away some of the blue light of the days that inhibits my sleep. And it's a little bit of self-care for me.
And I know that people are watching us right now on YouTube going, those guys look 21. So we also know it's working.
The studies have shown there is an improvement visibly in wrinkles and collagen.
I wondered why I fancied you so much.
It's mutual.
If you're excited by this, go to bondcharge.com and use the code HP15 for 15% off everything across the site. You know what's wild? We spend hours optimizing our morning routines, our nutrition, our training protocols, but that same discipline should apply to how you live online, not just offline. I'm talking about your online security, and this is where Surfshark comes in. It's a VPN that keeps your data private and secure by encrypting your internet activity, whether you're traveling, working remotely, or using public Wi-Fi. Surfshark protects your connection and keeps your data safe from hackers. It's basically the digital version of locking your front door when you leave the house. But it's not just about security. It's also about focus and control. Surfshark's Clean Web feature blocks ads and trackers, so you get less noise and more space to focus on what really matters. Surfshark is also really easy to use. Just switch it on once and it quietly runs in the background, keeping you protected across unlimited devices. Take control of your online world at surfshark.com/high performance or use code high performance at checkout to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN plus a 30-day money-back guarantee.
You said, Patrick, that you see your role as being almost a mindset coach as well as a tennis coach.
Yeah.
And those two qualities of having that passion and the drive and then almost that high level of self-belief, how can you enhance those qualities?
Well, passion is not easy because if some people don't have a passion, so you have to make it very interesting. I've worked with players who are not passionate about tennis in the past. So I was going to the matches with them. I was explaining stuff to make it more and more interesting for them because I think it's easy to get passionate about tennis because, I mean, the fan base of tennis, when you fall in love with tennis, it's for life. And the fan base of tennis is 61 years old average, and there is a reason for that. There are two reasons. The first one is because the format of tennis is not appealing to the young generation. It's too long, it's too slow. It doesn't fit the criteria. But the second reason is the fans, the original fans of the 70s and the 80s are still fans today because, it's for life. So it's easy to love tennis, but for that, you need to understand how subtle it is. There are a lot of things that people don't get. So I would spend time with the player, tell them stuff they didn't think about, and then they would say, oh, wow, that's great. And also I think it's contagious, the passion. If you live with someone who's passionate and you have a great connection with that person, I think you can get more and more. It works or it doesn't work. But passion is one thing. The second thing I think is more interesting. How do you help people believe in themselves more? As I said earlier, it's all about your experiences. And most of the people have had bad experiences. They lost a lot of matches in their life. And when it comes to real life, not tennis, one day you had to make a speech in front of 4 people and you were so scared and you messed up. And then you think, oh, I'm very bad at talking in front of people because this bad experience made you think that. Or parents told you and people around, all parents do it. Oh, my son, he's good at this, but this, oh, no, it's not for him. You go back to where you're not supposed to be good and you have a positive experience. So I basically do this with them. I was on Nick Kyrgios' podcast a few months ago, and he said to me, okay, if you had to coach me tomorrow, which advice would you give me? And I said to him, I don't give advice. I'm not a professor giving a lesson. That's not me. And I don't think it's coaching. It's called masterclass. It's not coaching. What I would do, I would embark with you on the journey. We're gonna go through good, bad things. There will be challenges. We're gonna find solutions together. So we basically embark together. Life gives you the challenges, and most of the challenges is because you have mental limits in some situations because of what you went through. And because we're together, we're going to go through it and we're going to change the outcome compared to what the previous one. And then slowly, you're going to change your opinion on yourself. And I did it for myself when I was young. From the least confident person in the world, I cannot say from the most confident because it's not the case. There are many people way more confident than me, but I think I am confident in myself. I couldn't even speak to someone because I was so shy and my opinion about myself was so bad. I was always thinking when I was young, if I open my mouth, they're going to see how not interesting I am. So
people will be listening to this thinking, hold on, Patrick couldn't even talk to people because he had such challenges mentally as a child. And now he suddenly believes that he can win a Grand Slam as a coach. Please explain what the moment that changed or the journey from one to the other, because there were people listening to this who are where you once were and would love to be where you are now.
Taking decisions. I took big decisions that gave me a lot of confidence.
Like?
When I was 16, I was really under control, which is normal with my parents. My parents were controlling me a lot, which is normal. We control our kids. We don't want them to do stupid things. Nothing bad about it. But, I was dominated. And I was even way more dominated because I had no confidence. So, I was like a soldier. Yeah, okay, I go right, I go left. I couldn't do well in school, even though I was trying. So I was very sad because I know I was not doing what my parents would expect me to do, even though I was trying. So this didn't help my confidence. So at some point I thought, it's enough. I'm going to take control. It was easy because it was my parents. I mean, when you say I'm going to take control of, in a situation where you don't know the people, you need more confidence. And this was maybe one of the biggest decisions I took. I was 16 and I never went out, parties and this, zero, because I was focused on tennis. I didn't care about going out. But when my parents took tennis away from me because they didn't want me to become a professional tennis player because they thought, no, it's better to study. I felt they took my life away from me and I was angry, really angry. So I started to go, I wanted to do all the stupid things in the world, like a revenge.
Yeah. And
I used this anger to, dominate my parents rather than to be dominated when I was 16. This anger helped me a lot to do it. So I said to her one night, we were after dinner, I was in the living room with my brother and my parents, and I said, I'm going to go out tonight. So my father looks at me and said, I don't think so. And I said to him, you see the door behind you? I'm going to stand up. I'm going to walk. I'm going to open the door and I'm going to get out of this apartment. And if you don't want me to do it, you will have to stop me. But if I was you, I wouldn't try. And I was really he could feel that I was not joking. I stood up, I walked, I opened the door, I left. Game over. I had control. This was big for me. This gave me a boost of confidence. Then 1 year later, I was still very shy. More than shy. When you spend your whole day talking to nobody and literally hoping nobody's going to talk to you because you know you're gonna panic. You even try to not cross anybody's eyes, because if you cross somebody's eyes, the person might start to talk. So I was looking at nobody also. I went to my mom and I said, okay, I cannot live like this all my life. I want to do great things in my life. I can do nothing. So this cannot be my life. What can I do? She said, go see a psychologist. Actually, it was psychoanalyst. So it was a deeper thing than psychologist. So I said, okay, whatever I have to do, I'm going to do. So I started this, which was so difficult for me because of my shyness. I spent 1 year going every week to see this guy. And for 1 year, I couldn't say one word. 1 year going every week, sitting like this in front of the guy, and not one sound was getting out of my mouth.
Wow.
1 year. You must have been so determined to change your life, because not many people would carry on doing that for a year.
I think you're right. And I think there was a voice in me telling me I have something special, but I just cannot express it. I can't. I carry a way too heavy burden to be able to express what I have inside. And I have to find a way to express it. You know, since I was very young, I knew we all know we're going to die one day, but I have this feeling really deep inside me when I was 6, 7 already. And I was terrified by the idea that I'm going to die one day. It's scary, I think, for everyone. And I thought, it's going to be very short. It's going to go fast. I mean, I knew it will go fast. And now I'm 55 and I can tell you, because I see you much younger than me, it's fast. It's crazy fast. So I thought, it's so fast. It's going to happen once. You have one life. That's what I think. Can be wrong, but that's what I think. So it has to be something really special to me. I always thought that, but I just couldn't do it. But I think this voice gave me the strength to win battles that I would not even try to win if this voice didn't push me. But I don't think it's me. Like, I think really that everyone can do things that they don't even think about. People don't have any idea of the potential they have. Zero idea. Why? Because they don't try. They just don't try. And they don't have the confidence. For me, confidence is, if I had the power to give something to someone that I love, it would be confidence. With confidence, you can do anything.
Yeah. We've almost reached our quickfire questions to round off the interview, but we can't have you in the chair and not just talk for a moment. And you've already mentioned their names, Alcaraz and Sinner. Mm-hmm. How impressed you are with what they've done and how they've taken the game seemingly onto another level.
They're crazy impressive. The quality of the tennis they play is unreal. It's fun. Tennis is funny because after Sampras won 14 Grand Slams, the entire tennis industry said this record will never ever be beaten. Next generation, 3 guys not only beat him but destroy him. More than 20 Grand Slams, 3 guys, 20 or more. So that's crazy. And after those 3 guys, everybody said nobody's going to play tennis like this ever. They reach heights that are impossible to reach. Next generation, boom, 2 guys play. I think they play better tennis because tennis evolves. I don't think they would have been better than them if they would play at the same time. But I think that because tennis is always evolving, I think they play faster. If you look at, Wimbledon, at the time it was final Roger Rafa. And now you look at Wimbledon final this year, they play faster. I think they play way faster. And if you look at them one after the other one, you see it. So that's crazy, the level they play. And what is crazy also is their domination. The points they have says it all. So, it's the ranking is because of the points. So you have Alcaraz, Sinner, they have almost the same number of points. Very close, very close. Number 3, Zverev. The difference of points between those 2 guys and Zverev is as big as the difference of points between Zverev and number 1,000 in the world. That's nuts. Nuts.
Is it good for tennis?
I think the rivalry is unbelievable for tennis. The level of play is great. The fact that they dominate so much the field, it's not a problem. They're so exciting. Roger, Novak, Rafa, they dominated the same way for a decade. Was it good for tennis? Everybody was saying it's the best time ever for tennis. So I think the quality of what they produce is so huge, and their personalities also, they're so different. I think that all that, brings the rivalry to a point that is extremely exciting, and the level of play is just unreal. This Roland Garros final is best final of all times to me by far, and best match this year by far also on tour.
And prime Alcaraz and prime Sinner, do they beat prime Federer, prime Djokovic, prime Nadal, prime Borg, prime Sampras?
Borg, I think so. Was a different era.
A different era, but you think in their prime, these are the two greatest we've ever seen?
Well, I don't like to compare because I feel it's degrading for the previous generation.
Yeah.
I think they would win. Alcaraz and Sinner would win. But I think if they had played at the same time, I don't think they would have played that level, because I think the three others would not have let them play that level, because they would have beaten them a lot, so they could never reach that level. And I think if they play better than the previous ones were playing, it's just because, again, tennis evolves. And probably the next generation is going to play better than Alcaraz and Sinner. Probably because tennis sports is moving all the time. Look at the records of 100 meters. You think it's impossible to beat it, and then next generation, the guy run faster.
We'll talk about other sports. Given the sort of physical and mental demands of elite tennis players, do you think they're the greatest athletes on the planet?
I think tennis is the most complete sport on the planet, yes. I think so, because I think mentally those individual sports are the most difficult. I think the battles are long, and you have to keep catching up with your mental strength for so long. So mentally, I think it's one of the most difficult sports, if not the most difficult. Frustration is crazy, and you have to deal with so many emotions and keep your focus. And when people criticize players who lose it, I always think, come on, those guys are normal. The other ones are not normal. The one who don't lose it, and they're exceptional. They're just normal. They show that they're humans. So the physicality is crazy. You need to have a crazy good cardio. You need to be able to be fast, moving every kind of direction. You need to jump high. You need to be on the first 2-3 steps. You need to be explosive with the lower body and with the upper body. It's one of the most complete sport, I think, that needs so many different qualities. It's an incredible technical game. For all those who have tried to play tennis, before 1 year, you cannot hit a ball. That's why padel is so successful, because you take a racket and you have fun. Tennis, you take a racket for the first time, you don't have fun. Huh? You need to cover the court, you're not going to cover it, and you need to hit the ball on the other side. It's going to go. If you hit the ball, good job, but to hit it inside the court, so technical and so tactical. So it's so interesting tactically. There's thousands of things to say. So. Such a difficult and complex sport. That makes it so interesting, by the way.
Yeah. I think you quite like tennis.
I think so.
Right, we've got some quickfire questions.
Yeah.
What are the 3 non-negotiable behaviors that are most important to you?
Respect, number one.
Yep.
Number one. Honesty, but being honest, like not cheating or lying, or you can lie, but for the good of the person,
okay,
not for your own benefit, not stealing. Mm-hmm. You need to be able to trust a person. So honesty. So what did I say first? I forgot it already. Respect, honesty, kindness. Yeah,
very good.
If you're not a kind person, actually, I was happy to hear from Elon Musk. That's what he said. But someone asked him, what's the biggest mistake you've made? He said to hire people for their talent and didn't pay attention about their kindness. And coming from him, who is all about efficiency, that was a good call. And I 100% agree.
Love it.
What's the greatest piece of advice you've ever received, and why?
Don't fight every battle. Choose your battles.
What is your biggest strength?
My enthusiasm.
And your greatest weakness?
I'm better at talking about my qualities. And I never like to show my weaknesses. I don't show my cards. But I'm going to try to answer the question still. My greatest weakness.
We are definitely keeping the long pause in the edit for the greatest weakness.
Yeah, it says everything. Yeah?
It says everything.
To not wanting to see my weakness.
Very good. What advice would you give to a 10-year-old Patrick?
Follow your dreams.
And finally, what's your one golden rule to live a high-performance life?
Be yourself. Everybody else is already taken.
Well, you've done that. You've done it successfully. And for people that haven't read it, both of us would highly recommend your amazing book, Champion Mindset. So much of the things that you've spoken about today, they can read about more in the book. It's a brilliant insight into your career. And on behalf of all of us, thank you so much for sharing so much value today.
Thank you very much for the invitation. And I had a lot of fun. It was really cool. Very interesting.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.
Good man. Thank you very much. Brilliant. Really good.